Hi you guys, welcome to this video. My name is Kristin and I'm so glad to be back. It's been a bit long between my videos lately, which is because I've been on some vacation, which has been so good. But I'm really glad to be back and to do this video on the topic of interference, and it's from a channeling that I did. And thank you again, Victoria, if you're watching this, for asking questions while I'm in a trance state so that we can dive a bit deeper. And this is questions that I received from several of you several times, and I thought it was about time to dive deeper into it. And if you have any thoughts about this and any questions as well, please comment and ask in the comment section. And if you want to support my work, as always, it's great with any shares, any likes, subscriptions, all of that. It's really, really supportive. So thank you everyone doing that. Now the question that was asked was, can the soul be, or can there be an interference? Can the soul be intercepted when coming into the vessel or thereafter? Is there any potential fracturing of the mind, and could it potentially take away memories, power, or knowing, or making a person feeling bound, restricted, or blocked? So pretty wide question, and something there is a lot of different perspectives on, and a lot of different thoughts and storylines, I would say, out there. So this information is from the Blue Beings I channel, and yeah, love to hear your thoughts about it when you hear it. Now, what I said is that this actually happens to everyone. You lose your memory as you come into this experience. This is a part of this experience. So from the point of only being the consciousness, only that light, only that soul, into the body, there is actually something happening. You lose your memory, you lose the memory of who you are. And this is what we're, in the process of remembering while we are living. So that happens. That has nothing to do with interference. That is how this experience on this planet works. But from that there has been created many storylines. And they said that the expansion of the humaning is the deepening of the connection between the stream of consciousness and the body. And I have talked about that in a previous video. I will link that below, of how the embodiment is important, because the expansion of the human and the shift in consciousness that we are in has to do with more of the stream of consciousness that we are coming into the body and actually activating the body from within, which is why, or part of why, it's so important to stay embodied and not try to opt out. Now, the soul has already chosen what level of awareness is going to be a match to before coming in. So this is one of the things that we're setting up before we actually incarnate into this reality. So for example, you can see children now remembering more and knowing more, having more of their light quotient really in their bodies coming into this experience, and maybe remembering more, some from past lives, or what we term as past lives, for example. And that has to do with what they actually chose coming in, and also what the body actually can hold. Because as we just said, right, there is a combination of the light coming in and what the body can hold and activate. And this is also a process of evolution in the human body. Now, an example they also used was that someone who was a child 80 years ago, we heard examples of that as well, of people having full memories of what we would term as past lives, for example. And that was then something that they chose before coming in, so that they have less of that part of the memory wiped out before coming in. So this has nothing to do with interference from anyone else, from any energies, frequencies. That is just how this experience works. And then they said that fragmentation of the psyche, that happens in the moment of trauma. So the part that fragments, so this is when we experience some trauma, if we in that situation, then in order to stay connected with the people close to us, when this trauma happens when we are a child, and to stay safe, to actually stay alive, so this is the process that happens, right? Many of you will know this. Then we would rather disown or reject a part of ourselves so that we can keep staying connected, and the trauma will then have created a fragment of the psyche. Now, the part that is fragmented is not gone, but it's no longer part of the direct experience in our lives. And this is where we see like soul retrieval work, inner child work, different types of methods we have to bring back and re-own that part of ourselves that was fragmented of in the moment of trauma. So it's always accessible for us, but it's just not in the direct experience that we have. Now, can this be manipulated? Yes, it can, but it's very rare, they said. And when there is a manipulation from something outside of this, so that a fragmentation happens, that again then is mostly contracted. So some people will come in with a contract that they will experience something outside coming in and manipulating and creating a fragment of the psyche. Now that is very, very rare, and they say that it's not helpful for the human at this point to go more into that, because that would rather create more stories and more fear, and it's very rare. So it's not really important for us at this time. They said that the storylines around these things are so sort of out of hand, so that's nothing they want to put more energy on or add to. Now they said that what is actually the problem when it comes to any sort of interference or any darker energies or like low vibrational energies is people making decisions based off of a fragmented psyche. That fragmented psyche, as we just said, comes from the moments of trauma, and it happens with every one of us. We all have some fragmentations, and in different areas of our psyche, and of course to different extent. Now they said that, let me just check my notes here. Yes, because when there is an imbalance, and that meaning being something in us not being fully aligned and fully open, right, which is all of us to some extent, because we don't remember everything. We have experienced trauma, we are remembering, we are relearning, we are unlearning all of this. So we are all at some point or in some way to some extent in an imbalance. And when we make decisions based off of that, we may make decisions that can allow other energies in. And this is where the problem is, rather than anything outside of us coming in without us knowing. Of course, this can be conscious or unconscious. Now, what I said is that when we are in an imbalance or in an imbalance pattern, like for example addiction or a mental imbalance or anything like that, that weakens the field, and it's easier to come in for other energies. Now, when we are talking about these decisions that some people make that can be conscious or unconscious, that has to do with doing energy work or doing anything that can be like connecting with dark energies, with entities that are not of the highest, spellcasting, these kind of things. Then that comes in through a human who has actually made the choice, consciously or unconsciously, based off of a already fragmented psyche, to engage with these energies. So it's again not something outside of us, that is not going through the human. And that is much more of a problem currently than any outside forces. Now, fear does not help. So quite soon in this part of this channeling, they went into how do we work with this. And fear and being afraid of this and what outside of me can come in, can, mess with my field or with me. That does not help at all, which is why creating more storylines around this and really going into those rabbit holes is mostly not any help for the human. The only thing that helps is to become an empowered human, really living your life. And when something is ready to be understood, when something is ready to be seen, it will come up. So that's the part of this evolution. This is the journey we are all on, right? When there's something in us that is ready to be felt, that we have been hiding, that we were not aware of, something from a trauma, some emotion that was never felt, it arises if we are present in our lives. And that is the journey that we have to focus on. Because those moments, if we then choose to feel it, if we choose to change a pattern, if we choose to become aware and conscious, then we can make new choices. We can make more balanced choices, more aligned choices that will make it so that we get new experiences in our lives. And this is where the human has that choice, where we very often come into judging ourselves for making the wrong choice. And what I said is that there isn't really a wrong choice, because if you can either make a choice of choosing to face it, which can lead you to making a new choice and creating a new experience, or you can choose to ignore it, which will create a pretty similar experience once again, but that is also an experience, and we are here to experience this life. So from a higher perspective, that is not wrong either. But if we want to change, if we want to expand, if we want to learn and become more aware, then we have to make these choices of actually becoming aware and choosing to be with whatever comes up when it comes up, so that we can move through it rather than keeping it suppressed or disowning it. And that's also when we can make these conscious choices, so that we will not engage in patterns or behaviors that will allow any other energies in. So like going into analyzing things too much, like really examining every symptom, everything that is happening, that is the mind trying to get control. So if you can let the mind take a step back and be present for life, which is such a challenge, right? It sounds so easy, but it's such a challenge so many times. That is where we become more and more aligned. No matter what are those two choices we make, whether we make the choice of dealing with whatever is coming up in a moment, or we choose to ignore it or not do anything with it, both of those choices will affect other people. It will have ripple effects. Because depending on what choice we will make, we will meet different people, and we will be signing up for different contracts. And what I said is that we have like the main soul contracts, which is the parents and the siblings, like some main characters that we meet through our lives. But then we have also a lot of weaker contracts, which depends on different choices, which depends on the life paths of which people we will meet in our lives and what will unfold. And they said, and this is something they haven't mentioned to me before, but they said that some people actually have up to 25 different potential life paths, but most people have 2 to 3 main different life paths. So of course, if we make some choices that will create some changes in our lives, we will meet with some people, and some certain things will be unfolding. Most likely, if we make another choice, there will be other things unfolding. We will meet other people. Maybe both of those will eventually create, meeting the same person in some occasion, or is something unfolding, which it will be different depending on the contracts that we make before coming into this life. And this is what creates evolution. And we chose to incarnate into a reality with free will. And so a part of this experience is to experience that there is free will. And if we use the free will in the direction of becoming more aware and becoming more conscious, and more connected to that stream of consciousness that we are, that comes into our body, then we will start to experience what we call the divine, and also divine will. And that journey is the journey that you most probably are on if you're watching this video, because then you will be interested in self-awareness and expansion and healing and developing and all this, and energy, vibration. But it's all coming back to becoming an empowered human, not going into all of the storylines and all the fear, because it is not a huge problem. The biggest reason why we experience these things, of what we can experience as an interference or any encounter with darker energies or entities, is because of the choices that a human makes based off of a fragmented psyche, and then engages with this. So it's all that connection with ourselves. Okay, we're back. That connection with ourselves and the stream of consciousness that we are, that is where everything is. That's where we find our free will, and then even deeper we get a connection with the divine within ourselves. It's all within us, and also the divine will. So the interference of any, from the point of view being a sovereign being, as I saw before incarnating, and a sovereign fragment of source, really, till you enter the body, is not a big concern, they said. And then they said the human likes to distract themselves with anything that can take away from their need to take action in this life that they're living right now. And then through that actually connect to their free will. That is the main problem. So be aware of your choice in any moment, whether to go into a distraction or whether to be present for your life with everything that we experience as anything good or anything bad. It's all a part of the experience, and sometimes it's so easy to sit and say and to understand the concept and to understand it, intellectually. Another thing is to actually show up for life in that way every single day. But that is what we are practicing. And take back your power, take back the belief in yourself and in how incredibly powerful the human actually is if we stop giving our power away. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I would love to hear in the comments how it was received and your thoughts on it. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.